Hey everybody, how we doing? Well, the little ones here are getting bigger. Yes, they are. Look at the long legs. That little guy right there. Holy cow. How'd you grow such long legs? You must be part deer. Huh? They are getting bigger though. Looking pretty good. Growing some horns. Yes, you are. I kind of like you. Yes, I do. And I will say, aside from one, here, this little guy right here. Yeah, he's the last one born. There he is. He's the last one born. He's the last one yet that hasn't found a home yet. So we need to find a home for him, and then everybody will be covered. Tell you what, let me open the gate here. I want to let them out. Hang on. Hang you up over here. How's that? There you go. Everybody ready to go out, huh? And away they go. Tell you what, we're going to follow them out because we're going to take a look at our electric fence and stuff again. I know a lot of people ask about that. I get a lot of questions, a lot of people talking about electric fence, mainly because, man, woven wire, like that stuff, is so high priced. A lot of people are trying to, save a little money anyway, and maybe with electric fence units, you can save a little. So I thought we'd come back and discuss. You can see I use the poly rope. Thought I'd bring that back up again to show everybody. I'm using the poly rope. There's a lot of people use the netting, and that works out pretty good too. But I've used this. They do have the poly tape, the wider. I think it's like 1/2 inch or 3/4, even an inch. I have a problem here with the poly tape. My daughter tried that with horses. The wind blows so hard here, it really gets that tape moving, and it kind of tears it apart. So it does not last too long. So the poly tape has not worked for me, but the poly rope works well. And I'd have to say, I can't say I've ever really had any problems with the lambs. Now, I did one thing here, and we can see it. Well, let's kind of move over where we maybe don't have the sun in your eye. As you can see, I'm using 5 strands here, and I put 3 real close to the bottom for the lambs to catch. This is the only pasture that has 5. Every other pasture, now if you'll be able to see it far enough away, has 4 after that. The reason I did 5 here was this is the pasture where I train the lambs of what an electric fence is. So this is the first one they get put out in with the electric fence. I figure by the time they get done here, and eventually I would move them off to a new pasture, they'll pretty much know what an electric fence is by then, and I don't really need all 5 strands from there. So, except this year, they're not going to get any others. We're going to try to keep them in this one or in the ones with the wires. Now, I will say, if you're thinking of hot wires, something like this, I use this for cross fencing, and I don't have a problem with cross fencing, but I have all 4-foot woven wire, 4x4 mesh, sheep, goat fence, whatever you want to call it. That is all my perimeter fencing, all right? I do not have hot wire as a perimeter fence. I don't think I'd ever try to do that because they're just not going to stay in. You're going to lose something. They're going to get out. So, but for out here like this, it works out really well as far as I'm concerned. And everybody's looking pretty good. Ewes are starting to finally get rid of some of the hair. Boy, they got a ways to go on some of them, but they're starting to get slicked up. By the time we get to the month of June, they should be slicking up pretty good. Lambs are really growing. They are getting big. I guess this is the time of year I really like. Lambs are getting big. Watching them grow, watching horn growth, that's always kind of fun. Let's go up. Here's a tree they've been using. It looks like they've been using this tree to get rid of a little bit of that hair, huh? Let's go up. I want to talk about the fencer unit and kind of update on that, because people have asked me about what I've been using and how that works. So let's go up and we'll do that. All right, for the electric fence unit, here we go. Basically your American Farm, I'm not sure which one it is. The last name is kind of, you can see the starting to weather off a little bit, but it's been out here 3 or 4 years. It's the 10-mile line, Tractor Supply. I looked this morning. It's on sale for $179. They said $199, now it's $179. This one's, I've had a few people, they didn't think that was the best fencer unit. It's been out here, I can't remember if this is year 4 or year 3 now, to be honest with you. I think we're coming on year 4, but it has done well. I have no problems with it. The big thing with these is to ground it good. And you can see I got a ground wire going down the post. There's my hot string. I put it on all of them. I have 2 grounds. Now it suggests bigger, but I bought an 8-foot copper ground rod like you'd have for your house. I cut it in half and I pounded both of those into the ground all the way down so they're flush with the ground. So I have 2 4-foot ground rods and some big, I think that's 10 gauge wire I'm using for my ground wire. So the biggest thing is to really ground them good. Ground them good, they'll work out. The second thing with this, these fencer units like this are using lithium batteries. And when I got into the lithium batteries, I've done a video about backup batteries for power and stuff. They really stress in there that you cannot charge lithium batteries when it's below freezing. You'll damage the batteries if you try to charge them when it's below freezing. Some of these batteries, the fancier ones, have shutoffs in them. So when the temperature is below freezing, you cannot do that. Well, a battery on a fencer like this is not going to have a cold shutoff. So there's a lithium battery in there. I bring that fencer unit in every winter. When I'm not using it, I take it down, I bring it in the house, I bring it in. I put it back out in the spring. Because if you think about it, if you've got this electric fencer unit sitting out here all winter long, and it's got that solar panel, every time the sun's shining, it's going to try to charge that battery. So maybe people that have problems with these units, leave them out all winter, the batteries get damaged because you're trying to charge them in the winter when it's 0 degrees or 10 degrees or something like that. I don't know, but I'm just telling you, I've had no problems with mine for 3 to 4 years now, whichever it is, but I bring it in every winter. And to show you, here is my fence that's up. I pulled it out of the deal. Let me plug this back in. Stick it in the ground down here. And this is the Aloe Sun fence tester. I bought this a few years ago. I will put a link in the description. It's an Amazon affiliate link, but I'll put a link in the description for this. But as you can see, you get a little bit of a note, but all I got to do is hang it in. And there we go. I got a 7.7 there. It shows 6.8. There's a 9.6 on that one. 8.8 on that one. 8.9 on that one. 7.8 on that one. Hope I had the camera tilted so you can see all them. So you can see I'm still getting a really good charge. I'm getting plenty of juice from this unit. And like I said, it's 4 years old. But I think part of my key is I bring that in. Don't leave it out when your battery's out in the wintertime. I love this for testing. This really works well. One thing about when you're testing fences like this, if you've got something like this and you're testing fences, right now we've had some rain, haven't had any rain in a few days, but the soil is fairly moist, I would have to say. Come June, July, it's going to be hot. It's not, and the ground's going to be dry, and it hasn't rained. If you want to test your fence, now admittingly, for your livestock, the ground is dry for them. But if you want to test your fence, I'll sometimes bring a bottle of water. Pour a little water on the ground, and then go another spot and do it. And then let that water sink in on that dirt a little bit, and now put your probe into that. And you'll have a better chance to find out if your fence is really working properly. Because the ground gets so dry, they just don't work right sometimes. So, but that's the unit, Tractor Supply unit, 3-4 years old, still working great. It's got no problem. You can see still putting out plenty of juice. So, got no problems from that. So, what's next? Well, in the next week or so, it will be time for CDT shots. Yep, we're going to do CDT shots. And if you're not familiar with, everybody gets a CDT shot once a year as a booster. Lambs will get 2, and they're usually 30 days apart. So what I like to do here in the next week or 2, I'd like to get everybody their CDT shot, get the lambs the first one. That way they can have their second CDT shot either before I wean them or when I wean them. So that way when anybody picks up any lambs that they purchase from me, they will be updated with all their CDT shots. Probably an idea, we may go ahead and worm lambs at that time. I like to do a worming with Valbazen because Valbazen works really well for tapeworms. That's a good one for tapeworms, and ewes aren't usually bothered by tapeworms. They can handle that, but if anything has a problem, lambs, if they get infested too much with tapeworms, they can have a problem. So we're going to, I usually like to go ahead and hit them with Valbazen, so take care of any tapeworms if they would have them. So, but there's the little ones. We're going to be keeping that guy right there, the white one with the brown spots. Yeah, we're going to keep him. We're going to need a name for him. We'll have to figure out a name eventually. I got 3 of them we're going to have to figure out names for. So hopefully I don't need to come up with a name for you. Now, hopefully you find a home and I won't have to worry about that. We'll find somebody. Somebody's going to like him. I like him. But I already got 3, so I don't need 4. All right. That's all I got. I wanted to go over the fencing unit stuff. We'll get back here when we're going to do the CDT shots. We'll get you back for that and show you what we're doing there. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time around.